Okay, good afternoon, families. We will go ahead and get started. My name is Heather Deer, and I am the Director of Parent and Family Programs at William and Mary. Thank you so much for joining us for our second Tribe Transitions webinar in our summer webinar series. Today, we'll be discussing all things pre-orientation programs. I'll just clue you in a little bit to how our format is going to work today. We have the 4 pre-orientation program coordinators on our call this afternoon. They will each take about 10 minutes to discuss their pre-orientation program and answer questions after. So please do utilize the Q&A feature to drop your questions here in Zoom. Just a note that it's unlikely that we'll be able to get through all of the questions that you have today, but our pre-orientation program coordinators are happy to answer questions after the call via email, and you can also always send an email to families@wm.edu, and we can help you with any questions that we're unable to answer today. Also, this session is being recorded, so if you need to take diligent notes, please do, but also know that this will be available to you after the fact, so you can watch it on demand, and that will be shared with you via email and on our YouTube channel. You can always subscribe to our YouTube channel to be notified when those recordings are uploaded, likely in 1 to 2 business days. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. I want to make sure that all of our presenters have time to talk about their programs. So we're going to start with the 7 Generations program. So Elizabeth, I will turn it over to you so you can share your slides and take it away.
Thank you, Heather. I'm so glad to be here with all of you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're joining us in and watching this. My name is Elizabeth Miller from William Mary Civic and Community Engagement. And part of our mission is to provide resources and programming for students to become lifelong community-centered leaders. And I'm excited today to get to share with you the first of those opportunities that students at William Mary, new to William Mary, get to participate in. And that is our 7 Generations pre-orientation program. This is a program that has a lot of different opportunities built into it. And at the end of every year, I ask our outgoing students to tell me, how would you describe this program to the next year's students? And so I want to share with you what one of our participants from last year said. So when I said, what is 7 Generations? She shared that it's a program that will get you out of your comfort zone in all the good ways through teamwork, service, and building awareness on issues and initiatives within the community, whether you're from the area or not. Participating in 7G gave me more confidence going into orientation and connected me with amazing opportunities to engage with and serve the local community. So if that quote doesn't get you, let me tell you more broadly that 7 Generations is our pre-orientation program focused on community and sustainability. We bring up to 20 incoming students to campus in Williamsburg early, the week before orientation. So our program starts on August 19th and runs through August 23rd. And in small groups and the large group of 20, students are learning about their new community of Williamsburg and William and Mary through a lens of community engagement and sustainability. So you can see here a few of our students working at the Williamsburg Community Growers Farm. And every day in the program looks a little different depending on what's on schedule, but also who we have joining us for the program. But to give you a sense of some of the typical things we see in our program, it might be that our students are going to wake up and make breakfast for themselves and then head out to meet the manager of our local farmers market and do a farm tour with one of the local farms. Sometimes they get to cuddle some goats, pet some chickens, chase some chickens, depending on how the chickens are feeling that day. You can see here they were actually at a Christmas tree and strawberry farm. They might go on a tour of community with a nonprofit leader. Then they might go to volunteer at the Habitat Restore, or we've had students do a lake cleanup by kayak to remove litter at the edges of the lake. They'll come back to a local park to have lunch and then go on a tour with one of our marine science faculty members to learn about water, or they might head all the way out to the Virginia Institute of Marine Sciences to do a beach cleanup. And then in the evening, they're going to cook meals together, head to Colonial Williamsburg for a concert, play a game night, all opportunities for them, again, to learn about each other and this new community take action directly on that work and better understand themselves as part of the William & Mary and Williamsburg community. So each day looks different, but broadly, we see that students are coming to this program because they want to be engaged. They want to build and serve community with each other, and this is a great opportunity to do so in smaller groups. So if you want to dig into some of those technical details, I'll share that registration is open for our program and is a first come, first serve opportunity that's open through July 19th. As of this morning, I believe 8 of our 20 spaces are filled, so still space for you to join in, but we do fill first come, first serve. The all-inclusive cost for the program is $135 or less, and I say or less because we do make this program free to any first-gen low-income student, and there are also scholarships for any student available. We never want cost to be a reason that you're not able to join us. Our teams are staying together, as you heard, and living in nearby campus ministry housing, and they actually cook their own meals together as well. So the cost includes all the groceries, but one of the best team building experiences we've heard from students is that they're getting to cook their meals together, talking about sustainability in the ways they cook, the choices they make with their time. And for the beginning time, we start at 11 a.m. on August 19th. Students are with us full time until 11 a.m. on August 23rd when they transition into their move-in and orientation program. And I should say, when I say with us, as staff, we're with them, but also 24/7, they're with each team of 10 has 2 upperclassmen who are trained as student team leaders. So they're the ones that are guiding the students through the process. They're the ones driving the vans, making sure people pack lunch, but they're also the ones that our 7 Generations participants turn to ask questions about the day, but more broadly about what it means to be part of William & Mary, what it means to be part of the Williamsburg experience. So I know that that's a lot of details to throw at you of the different logistics, and I wanted to offer you another take. When I asked another student what they would say about what 7 Generations is, they said simply, it was a great time and I met a lot of cool people, and that is a great way for us to think about this program. It's a chance to get to know others, again, in a smaller community while being part of the broader community. I also wanted to be sure to share that if your student is interested in 7 Generations, or if they're interested in civic and community engagement work and 7 Generations isn't the right fit for them, there are a few other opportunities I always encourage our incoming students to consider. The first is our Civic Leadership Program. That is a 1-year academic and co-curricular civic leadership development program. Students apply in October, so the interest form is open now, but they have a chance to get their footing under them and then apply when they start here at William & Mary. It's where they get to be with 15 other first and second year students, take classes, get funding for summer projects, and engage together around their civic leadership skills. As a one-time opportunity, the first Thursday of the semester, so the day after classes start, we host a large civic and community engagement fair in the lobby of our student union. So a chance to meet a whole range of community engagement, nonprofit organizations for volunteer internship opportunities, register to vote in Williamsburg, get your library card, those kinds of things. And if you want to see so many more opportunities, William & Mary GivePulse is our platform for upcoming opportunities. It'll look a little quiet right now as we head into the summer season, but students at any point can go on GivePulse to find opportunities to tutor in our local communities, volunteer with the Restore, find their way to issue education. So I hope this helped you with the big picture. This is a program focused on building community, learning about sustainability, and connecting, open to up to 20 students. And I should say that we run that August 19th through 23rd. We've had plenty of students who've participated in other pre-orientations earlier in the summer, and also 7 Generations. I'm going to hand it over to my colleagues in Student Accessibility Services, and I'll head to the chat to see what questions I can answer. Thanks for being here, y'all.
Okay, so my name is Kara Fifield, and I am the Associate Dean and Director of Student Accessibilities here at William & Mary, and I'm really excited to talk about our Summer Connections program. I do want to mention it is our first year doing this program, so it's our pilot program. we're very excited about that. Why are we doing this? So the biggest reason why we're doing this is we have seen over time that students with disabilities just need more time on campus before everything starts, before orientation starts, before classes starts, to really feel like they can have the time they need to get used to the students, to start making some friends, and get used to the lay of the land. So that's kind of really what our why is. And one thing I'm really excited about is we have 5 counselors this year. And so with those 5 counselors, all of them are students with disabilities who have been through, been here before. And really the why of why they're doing it is because they wish that this program existed when they started. So they want to do that moving forward. And I do want to share that this is for any kind of disability. So some common ones could be students on the spectrum, ADHD, learning disabilities, chronic health conditions, mental health disabilities as well. So it's very open. It's not specific to one disability, but any kind of disability. So as you can see on our website, here is our Summer Bridge program. And so I wanted to talk about our schedule highlights. One of the biggest ones is we are going to make sure that their accommodations are set before classes start. So that will be built into our program, that they will meet with our staff and have their accommodations ready to go. We will also be working with them on academic coaching and life skill sessions. So what I mean by that is we are going to have faculty come in and do a mock class, mock homework, things like that. We are going to have lots of tours on campus and off campus as well. And we'll have presentations from academic well-being, student leadership, and career development. And then we also want to make sure that we have a robust schedule for social outings for students to have time together and make connections organically. And so the 3 activities we have is they're going to spend a day at the Yorktown Museum. They are going to have a night bowling and a night at the movies. So we want to make sure that they are busy, that they're engaged, and they have that time to make some friends. So for our program, it will be Monday, July 22nd to Friday, July 26th, and it will start in the morning on that Monday and end in the afternoon on that Friday. Our application is open and live, and we have space for up to 40 students, and it's also first come, first serve. So we are just going to go based on when students have applied. If we have more than 40 applications, we will open up the wait list and then go from there. And for the program, it does cost money. So I always tell people it does cost money. It's $450 per student, but that includes room, food, and scheduled outings. So they will be living on campus in our dorms. I also want to mention too that there is financial assistance available. So if I don't want cost to be an issue, so if that's an issue, please let us know. But really kind of the why of what we're doing is we want to make sure that students have that time on campus to really build those life skills of figuring out how do we make friends, how do we adjust to college life, kind of have that first experience. So that way, when they come here for orientation, they're confident and ready and starting to feel like they're a part of this community. So that's really what we're looking forward to. And it's open to students of any kind of disability. And we're hoping to have up to 40 students register with us. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Michael. Thank you so much.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it might be. My name is Michael White, and I am an Associate Director of Campus Recreation, and I oversee William & Mary's outdoor recreation that we refer to as the Tribe Adventure Program. I am going to share with you in just a second our presentation on our Pathways program. So the Pathways program is one of the many outdoor recreation programs that we offer here at William & Mary. During the school year, we have a trips program that runs 1 to 4 trips every weekend throughout the academic school year. We have an indoor climbing wall at the campus rec facility. We have a lakefront area on Lake Matoka here on campus where during the warmer weather months, students are able to check out canoes, kayaks, stand-up paddle boards. But Pathways is definitely one of our best known programs. We serve up to 120 incoming freshmen through the Pathways program. And it is a really unique pre-orientation program. It provides an opportunity for students to integrate in the William & Mary community through outdoor wilderness type experiences. There is no, I know a common question is, well, my student doesn't have a lot of outdoor experience. Your student doesn't need any outdoor experience. For many of our Pathways participants, it's the very first time they've ever been camping before. And we'll talk a little bit more about the details of what they do while they're out in the field. It really is an opportunity for students to develop and use outdoor living skills, and interestingly enough, transfer those into that independent living situation that they'll have on campus. For many of our Pathways participants, camping and cooking their meals is sometimes the first time they've ever really cooked a meal for themselves. So they'll be working with their trip leaders, and they'll have meal plans, and they'll have to, cook together and those types of things. So I'm always surprised by that, but many of the students are saying this is the first time I've ever really cooked anything for myself. The trip leaders that lead the trips, it's really important to understand, are William & Mary students. About 75% of our trip leaders actually went through Pathways and had such a profound experience, they decided that they wanted to come back and learn how to lead trips. So we provide certifications and training so that they're able to do that. And the other part that makes that really powerful is that while they're out there hiking a trail, paddling a kayak, they're also talking about what it takes to be a successful William & Mary student. So Pathways 2024, our application process is currently open. As I said, we have 120 spots available. We usually have a rather long waiting list. We actually opened yesterday, and I believe we're up to 40 applications. And by applications, we ask for a lot of information. We try to give students a choice of trip. We actually offer through 2 different sessions. A session 1 is August 12th through the 16th, and session 2 is August 19th through the 23rd. I'll talk a little bit about that coming back on the 23rd, because it backs right up to actual move-in and orientation for our students. And we work very closely with Residence Life to make sure that that is a streamlined transition. Each year we offer slightly different programming, and this year the offerings include backpacking. We actually send 2 separate groups out. They backpack in opposite directions, typically on the Appalachian Trail. They actually pass each other by midweek, and then actually use each other's vans to come back. The Surf's Up trip is a very interesting trip. They actually go to Virginia Beach. They camp out there at First Landing State Park. They get surfing lessons and have an opportunity to spend time surfing, and they actually spend some time using stand-up paddle boards as well. We offer a canoe and camp trip where participants will travel around Virginia to various locations and paddle in places like the James River, Holiday Lake State Park, and along the way they'll be camping throughout their canoeing experience. And then the last of the offerings this year includes Base Camp Bears Den. Bears Den is an iconic stone lodge located just off the Appalachian Trail in Northern Virginia. And so participants will go there and actually camp for 2 days, and then actually spend their final night there at Bears Den in that lodge, staying in bunkhouse style rooms in a really, really unique location. We actually use Bears Den for a number of our trips throughout the year because it is such a great location. The deadline for applications is July 1st. Sometimes we extend that if we need more people and we have more applicants coming in, but you want to shoot for July 1st as the latest to send in an application. The applications are live online. They went online yesterday, as I mentioned. The sooner an application comes in, the better chance your student would have of getting to pick which trip they're going on. In the application, the students are asked to rate their first, second, and third choices for trips. And then we try to get people in their first, if not their second. As we get closer to July 1st, and as spaces fill up, sometimes we have to come back to applicants and say, your first and second and third choice weren't available, but here are the trips that we do have available. And we try to get folks into those trips. One common question is, how many people are in each group during these trips? It varies by activity. For instance, our backpacking, we only have 8 participants in each backpacking trip, along with 2 trained trip leaders. Part of the reason that we do this is we have adopted the Leave No Trace outdoor ethic, and so we want to minimize the impact we have on the backcountry. The other portion of that is we actually have to have permits through the Park Service in order to travel through certain backcountry and camp in certain backcountry areas, which limited us to a total of 10 people. Other trips can have as many as 12 to 15 participants, such as Base Camp Bears Den, and others like canoe camping. We're limited by the number of canoes that we can put on the water and manage with the number of trip leaders that we have going. Typically, the trip is led by 2 to 4 trip leaders. These trip leaders have gone through 1 year of intensive training. They receive things like wilderness first aid certification, CPR certification. They go through a backcountry living skills training. They go through an intense risk management training process. So these students are constantly receiving training that first year that they work for us as a trip leader. And so we're very confident in their ability to lead these trips. For some of the more challenging activities we offer, we work through outfitters. So we have contracts with various outfitters for both equipment and services while we're in the field. The duration of the programs are Monday through Friday. So the check-in is in the morning on Monday. Check-in starts at 8 and usually runs until about 10, where we have a meeting for parents and students. And then the students will start gearing up and go into the field. Their last night on Thursday that they spend with us is actually camping at a local campground here in Williamsburg on the Chickahominy River. They do what we call Summit, where all the trips converge because they're all out around the state doing various things. They all come together, have a big barbecue. They talk about their trips. They put on skits about their trips so that they can share what they've learned and experienced with the other trips. And then they spend the night there with their kind of final debriefing activities with their trip leaders. And they come back to campus Friday morning, where we de-issue the gear that we've checked out. They get to say their goodbyes. They get their t-shirts. And they're usually done session 1 sometime around 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning. Session 2 works a little differently, and we get a lot of questions about that because it does back up to orientation. They do get back a little bit earlier for session 2 so that they can be ready. And then Residence Life is working with us to have their own session 2 Pathways participants have their own check-in and move-in times for orientation. And so your student will receive an email. They're listing their check-in and move-in time for 8 a.m. So if your student is in a session 2, they do not have to sign up for their own move-in time. They won't have to get into the car line because they'll be on foot. They'll be given a specific location on campus to meet after they finish up with us here at Campus Recreation, and people will be waiting for them there to streamline them into move-in and orientation. So that information will come from Residence Life. The fee for our program is $210 per participant. That includes everything. That includes their food, all the lodging and camping, their transportation to and from all that they do, all of the group gear, entrance fees when we have to enter a park or another location, as well as covering the guides, whether those are outfitter guides that we're using or there are our trained trip leaders. You can find a lot more information out and have your student apply on our website. I have on your screen there a code that you can scan so that you can go to the site, but also posted in our chat, there is a link to our Pathways website. I also encourage you to, when you're in the Pathways site, look to your left and you'll see drop downs for all of our other outdoor recreation programs. If it turns out that your student is unable to attend Pathways, but outdoor activities are something they would be interested in trying, as I mentioned, we run programs throughout the year, both trips programs, as well as a climbing wall and a waterfront where they can spend time paddling on the lake. If you have any questions, again, as we mentioned before, please post them in the chat. I would be happy to answer your questions. From the website, there is a link to our email. Feel free to send us an email with detailed questions about how certain things work or what your student needs. Once the students apply, they will actually start receiving emails from us to their William and Mary email address. and it will talk about all the things they need to bring, things that they need to know. They will have a health history form and a waiver to fill out. There'll be lots of information that'll come through that. So the best way to find out information once your student has applied will be to talk to your student, because they'll be receiving all of the program's information through their William & Mary email. All right, well, thank you very much. I will pass it on to my colleague with the PLUS program, Dr. Weatherly.
Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Kimberly L. Weatherly, and I'm the Assistant Dean and Director of the Center for Student Diversity. I'm going to share my screen. So what is PLUS? The purpose of the PLUS program is to provide a summer experience between high school and college life. PLUS provides a supportive introduction to academic life at William & Mary, providing participants with the opportunity to interact with some of the most distinguished faculty members here at William & Mary. So of course you can read that, but PLUS is an opportunity for students who say they are a little bit more introverted, so they want to transition with a smaller, more intimate class. Our cohorts are normally from 40 to 70 people. So it's smaller. Each cohort receives a upper class person that comes, and they're cohorts of like 8 to 10. So they're able to meet upper class students. They have a guide throughout the week. They come to campus. It's a week program. And what they do is pretty much interact with students. They have these dynamic workshops. Some of the workshops may be how to study, how to write a paper, how to choose a career, what study abroad are like. I tell students that I had a wonderful undergraduate experience. My one regret is I didn't study abroad. But as I tell students, a lot of people are like, well, I may not have the funding or I may not have the time. But if you start your freshman year planning, you probably could do it by sophomore, junior, senior year. So those are the things that we enable students to talk about. PLUS runs Saturday, July 20th through Saturday, July 27th. Move-in is on that Saturday and you leave the next Saturday. Once again, it's right here on campus in a residence hall. So students are able to have that intimate experience before they come here with 1,500 or 1,600 people. So what's it like to live with someone that I'm not related to? What's it like to use, the residence, not the residence, but the restrooms down the hall, or to share? What is it like to go to the dining halls? The biggest one is mom and dad aren't here, so I have to be responsible for me. And we tell them, here's your itinerary. You need to be in certain places at a certain time. So it's kind of like a dry run of what to expect when they arrive here at their new home. Applications are already live. There is the link. They are due by June 7th. And then decisions are made normally June 24th and 28th. It is a very competitive program. Like I said, we only have like about 55 to 60 slots. What happens, you apply, the link is right there. You write a small essay and we get to know you and make sure that, of course, you're a fit for the program. And most of all, not so much because most students are a fit for the program, is the program a fit for your student? So that's the most important thing. So the link is right here. What to expect? Networking and friendship building. I cannot tell you how many of the students, when they get here, the first person they look for is their upper class mentor and all the other PLUS students. It's like PLUS students become like these mini leads because like, we know this, we know that. They help their other peers. So it's a wonderful to see students come back and be excited about what they learn and will share. Once again, when I said PLUS is for not only your introverts, a lot of people that are excellent students are like, I want a head start, I want to get there. For people who like, I want to meet other people, I don't want to feel alone in the fall, this is the program for them. For people that just enjoy, like I was that extrovert that always wanted to be somewhere and doing something, this is the program for you. Bonding with upper class people. Post PLUS, we have an externship opportunity. And you say, well, what is that? Normally during spring break, we allow students in their sophomore year at the PLUS, we take them to Washington, D.C. on an externship. We find out what their career wants, aspirations are in the D.C. Center, which belongs to William & Mary also. We partner them with career professionals. So they spend an entire day doing what they would do in that career, which is awesome. That's an opportunity also to meet and network people in their career, because maybe that may not be a fit for them, or at that time it's a wonderful fit when they graduate and people want to hire them. But as we know, sometimes a position is not available. But if I know you, I can say, I met this student, they've been interning, they came to Estern, they're wonderful. I want to recommend you somewhere else. So it's always great for networking. We also have monthly workshops. It just does not stop during the summer. We meet with our PLUS students. We have what we call a PLUS reunion every semester, and that's where all the cohorts from freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year who are currently here, they get together. It's another opportunity to say, hey, I'm in this major. What are the professors you recommend? What are the internships you're taking? You know, how should I prepare for grad school? So you can't be all that wisdom that are coming from present students that are living it. The academic preparation workshops I talked about, they're phenomenal. Practical skill building. And we do a lot of fun stuff. I don't want you to think it's, oh, this is all this stuff and we're forever in the classroom. Not at all. It's very interactive, first of all. We do workshops, we do leadership exercises, we do a rope course, and the social aspect is wonderful because I'm worn out, but in the evening, we take them skating, bowling, we have cookouts, so they're never bored. When they return to you, they are quite exhausted, but I will promise they probably will tell you I had a wonderful experience. The Plus DC visit, we also visit DC during Plus. We go on that Friday. The William and Mary DC office does a wonderful job of expressing that you could study during the summer there. Once you're here at William and Mary, all the different opportunities, some study abroad opportunity. So it's a great opportunity for students to experience that, especially who, not that you can't travel, but if you're in the Nova area, that's what the students call it, Northern Virginia or DC or Maryland, it's another opportunity during your summers to take place and take advantage of some of the opportunities through William and Mary off campus. So as you can see, there's a picture of the whole group that went this past summer by the Capitol. And then I have a few pictures from our cookouts. I do the annual cookout. Yes, I go out, I put on my chef's hat, I flip burgers. That's a charcoal grill. I want to make sure I acknowledge that. So I'm working, but I love it. I wouldn't trade it. So in the left bottom corner, as you see, there's a woman speaking. That is our wonderful Dean of Students. And she comes and does a workshop. So that's just one more example of how many faculty and staff come during the summer to do mark classes, to talk to students, to talk about their majors. It's a great opportunity if your student is undecided. We don't declare majors into our junior year, but a lot of students still are struggling about, I like so many things, or I would like to minor in this. It's a great opportunity in a smaller atmosphere to talk to professors in those different careers. So if you have any questions, and what I'm going to do is put the same link in the chat. Any questions? Let me monitor that. I don't think I see any. Do you see any, Laura? I may be looking.
Don't see any questions for you specifically, Kimberly, yet, but there's still some time. So families, if you have any questions that we haven't addressed, anything you're still curious about, we do still have a few moments with all of our presenters. And of course, if there are any questions about PLUS specifically, Kimberly is still here with us. So a great expert to answer those questions about the PLUS program. So I know that we have been answering some questions in the chat or in the Q&A. So if you submitted a question in the Q&A, please do go back and look and see if we've had a chance to answer your question. But there was one that popped up a few times. So if Michael is still with us, I'm going to see if maybe he can pop on and speak a little bit about, we got a few questions about the move-in advantage of pathways. So if Michael isn't still here with us, then perhaps Lauren can, oh, Michael is still with us. Wonderful. Seems like families are curious about any perceived move-in advantage with that pathway session. Can you speak a little bit about what that drop-off and then subsequent actual setting up of room process typically looks like for students?
Sure. I first off, I'm thinking about it. I can't see how it could be thought of as an advantage. It really is an accommodation for our program because our students are out in the field. And they don't get back to campus until Friday morning. Residence Life has been gracious enough to work with us to make that happen. Because of what we do, it really affects the program to come back earlier. And so what they have done for us is on Monday, when we check in the morning, any student who has selected for what we call an early drop off, and it's very important that I'm clear on this. It is a literally, you run in your dorm room, you drop everything in a pile on the floor, and then you leave and turn the key back in. So that Monday drop off, there's no time to set up the room. I know parents often ask, well, what if we just stay back in the room? We could set it all up for them while they're getting ready for Pathways, and that's not permitted. The parents can't hang out in the room. The key has to come back. The door is shut, and that stuff is left there. So that way it speeds up their process on Friday. So when they get back, Residence Life, and we haven't always done it this way. We keep looking for ways to streamline it. But Residence Life actually will have a location that they will ask the students to come to. We will help guide them to get to that location, and then they will kind of work them into the orientation and move in. That session 2, we have a lot of parents who are with out-of-state students who either want to, they have to get their student here and drop them off, and they don't really want to come back for the orientation. Or it's the other way around. They don't want to have to come and drop their student off, so they send their student on an airplane or on a train, and they show up here at William and Mary for the original drop-off, and then the parents come on that Friday. So it's less of an advantage and more of a just trying to accommodate our schedule, because our students are in the field, they're camping right up until Friday morning. I will say that session 2 Friday morning, they come back early because they're really amped. They're really excited to get here to campus and get into orientation and really get going. They've just had an amazing week in the field. And so, yeah, it's less of an advantage and just more of an accommodation for us because of the way our program works.
Thank you for that clarification. I think it's an important one. It's really like a drop off, turn the key back in, families come back and help set up on that normal move-in day. So thank you so much for clarifying that for us. Elizabeth, anything you want to add there?
Yeah, I'll just say for 7 generations, because our timeline is the same as that second Pathways, are very similar. It is, again, that early drop-off opportunity for 7 generation students. About half of the students usually take advantage of that. And then we do a coordinated transition to move in, often all in one location. So very similar to what Michael just described, but our program is built around that timeline as well.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for clarifying. Someone just asked in the chat, and I will answer this live. Is this session being recorded? Yes, the session has been recorded. It will be uploaded to the William and Mary Families YouTube channel, so you can subscribe there if you want to know as soon as I get it out the door. Otherwise, you will receive an email in the next couple of days with a link to the recording of this session. If you hopped on late, maybe missed a couple of our programs, that will be available, as well as all of the information that they've shared is available on our pre-orientation programs website that's housed within your students' tribe guide and your tribe guide as well. So most of that information is available, but this session was recorded. One family asked, and I know a couple of us have answered in the Q&A, but I would love to hear the perspective of our pre-orientation program coordinators. Of course, this is an opportunity for them to share about their programs and maybe see if your student is interested in participating. But someone did ask, although the programs sound terrific, I'm not sure if my student wants to leave for school earlier in the summer. Will she be at a disadvantage if she doesn't do any of these pre-orientation programs? So kind of the flip side. We love these programs and they're wonderful pre-orientation program opportunities, but does anyone want to share their perspective on what if a student doesn't want to participate in one of these programs?
Orientation thing.
I'm glad to share. I'm a William and Mary alumna from quite a while ago, but I was in no way ready to leave early for pre-orientation. So I think back a lot as to the fact that I wouldn't have signed up for this opportunity that I now know is so great. And in my experience, there is not a general disadvantage to not having joined. Students find value in jumping into those pre-orientation programs, at least our pre-orientation program, but all of our programming throughout the year is open to all students. So it's not as if by participating in this, you get access to more things. It gives you an early exposure and can help students in that transition, but it is not, at least in our case, a check in the box to get you to the next space. And so many of our students come in having done no pre-orientation programming at all. And we build a lot of programming, and I know this is true for all of our offices, to welcome students really throughout their time at William & Mary. So there are a lot of other opportunities for them to jump in once the semester starts. Michael, I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, I would echo that it's not a disadvantage to not participate. However, I think depending on your student and your student's need, participating can be a huge advantage. And to be honest, for our program, some of the students who have the greatest impact are students who were nervous and maybe more skeptical. And I think we're strongly encouraged by their parents to participate. As I mentioned, Pathways is unique in that we serve about 120 incoming freshmen. And through our evaluations, one of the most common things that students receive is a sense of community and belonging right away. And so if your student is someone who maybe struggles a little bit with finding their place or finding community, I mean, William & Mary in general does a great job of encouraging that and providing lots of opportunities for students to feel that way. But I know as a student who went far away from home to go to college, and my freshman year, I can still remember kind of how nervous I was to go from, having all these close friends and being an athlete, and then going to college and not being an athlete and not having that community already built for me. I struggled a little bit in the beginning, and I wanted to come home a lot because I wasn't plugged in. But what we find through the Pathways program, and I'm sure many of these other programs, is after that week that they spend with these other students, they have a group of friends that will carry them through their entire time here at William & Mary. They will stay in contact, whether and our participants come from all different majors and different areas. And we actually did some longitudinal studies to see, did they stay in contact with those folks? And it was crazy. They absolutely did, and far past graduating. So they meet this group of people. They spend this intense week right before they start college. Not only are they feeling a little more prepared for college, but they're coming into it and they're not alone. And that's a huge advantage. So I would definitely say it's not a disadvantage, but particularly for students who maybe have a hard time finding their group right away, participating in any one of these pre-orientation programs provides them with a ready-made group of people who become extremely close and ready to support each other in that first year of school and beyond.
I also want to say, this is Dr. Weatherly from PLUS Center for Student Diversity. One thing I appreciated, we just finished interviewing our peer counselors for upcoming summer 2024, the upperclassmen, and one of the people who participated in PLUS, he interviewed as a counselor, and he loved the program. And he said because of the program, because of his big sister, she was so active in student assembly, and that's basically student government. And he said, I went with her and I went to student assembly meetings and whatnot. Now he's one of the officers. And he said, I probably would not have known about student assembly or what they did or even checked it out if it wasn't for me coming to the summer program and meeting a bunch of upperclassmen that were, of course, already active. So that is one of the pluses, no pun, to coming to any of these transition programs. They're able to meet so many people, and they're able to find out about Greek life, student assembly, being an RA, being an OA, orientation aid, being all these different events. We have, not events, but organizations. We have over 500 active organizations on campus. So it's a wonderful opportunity to really talk to different people who have been here and say, well, what's it like? How do I get involved? And I think, like I always tell people, and when you come to orientation, you'll hear us speak again, college is only what you make it. So I tell people, if you're only, and we're at a rigorous academic institution, a lot of students sometimes come in like, I'm going to study, and then go back to my hall. Absolutely not. You have to have a well-rounded experience. When you meet everybody on this call, as far as the people presenting, we become your mentors. We become people that can write a recommendation for your internship, for your job, for grad school. So it's so many more things that you get from these different programs when they're a little bit smaller and confined. And once again, like Mike said, their friendships are already developed, which is great. So they come in with knowing a decent amount of people, which is an advantage, and it helps when you're coming into a class of 15 or 1,600 students.
Okay, I am seeing that we have no open questions, which I just want to say a big thank you to our pre-orientation program coordinators for helping answer that Q&A. Now, if you do have outstanding questions and you need an answer, please reach out to us at families@wm.edu. We can get you to the right place, or you can review the information on our pre-orientation programs website, which will have links to contact information for all of these programs as well. So before we head out, I am going to share screen one more time, just give you a preview of what's coming next in your Tribe Transitions webinar series. We have student accessibility services, academic advising and registration, student accounts, dining at William and Mary, and so much more over the course of the summer. So please do keep an eye out on your email. If you made it here today, that lets me know that you are getting our emails, which is wonderful. The recording of this session will be posted in the next couple days. Just want to thank you all for giving up your lunch hour perhaps, or your early morning if you're on the West Coast to hang out with us and talk about pre-orientation programs. Thank you again to all of our pre-orientation program coordinators. If you have any questions, families, about pre-orientation programs, or really anything related to your students' upcoming transition, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. As a reminder, you have a dedicated email, families@wm.edu, and you also have a phone line, 757-221-2508. I see a hand raised. Kimberly.
That is me, Heather, and I forgot the most important thing of Plus. It's free 99. So I forgot that.
Thank you for sharing that. That is an important note. So with that, I will close us out. Thank you all again for being here with us. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, a good week, and we will see you on the next one. Goodbye, everyone.